post-conflict reconstruction, governance and development cases of Nepal, Uganda and Sudan. Sudan, Nepal and Uganda have endured decades of conflict. In Uganda from 1971 to 1979, during Idi Amin's era, it is estimated that more than 300,000 people lost their lives. Another civil war broke out in February 1981 when there was a disputed election, and now President Museveni went to the bush, and it is also estimated that 500 people lost their lives in that civil conflict. In 1986, when a few months after the new government had come into power, another conflict broke out in the northern part of the country, led by a spiritual leader, Ars Alakwena, and a few months later, it metamorphosed into the Lord's Resistance Army, led by Joseph Kony, which ravaged the northern part of the country for more than 20 years, killing so many people. Hundreds of thousands of people were pushed into internally displaced people's camps, and thousands of children were abducted by the rebels into the rebellion. They lost time, they didn't go to school, they lost their lives and their future. In Sudan, there was a 20-year-old conflict when the southern Christians were fighting to secede from the Greater Sudan due to oppression from their Muslim Arab brothers. The war the civil conflict led by John Garang lasted 28 years from 22 years from 1983 to 2005, when a peace agreement was signed in Naivasha, Kenya. Also, Sudan has suffered several coups d'etats. There was a coup d'etat in 1971, in 1985, and in 1989 that brought President Omar al-Bashir into power. In 2019, longtime President Omar al-Bashir was removed by the army in a bloodless coup after months of mass protests. To date, some areas of Sudan, including Darfur and South Kordofan, are still facing unrest from the Janjaweed rebels and other so many groups, rebel groups that are ravaging these areas. In Nepal, the Nepalese civil conflict lasted 10 years between 1996 and 2006. The rebellion was launched by the CPNM on 13th February 1996 with the stated purpose of overthrowing the Nepalese monarchy and establishing a People's Republic. It ended with the signing of the Comprehensive Peace Accord on 21st November 2006. The conflict was characterized by summary executions, massacres, purges, kidnappings, and other war crimes and crimes against humanity. The insurgents resulted in deaths of over 17,000 people, including civilians, insurgents, army, police personnel, and internal displacement of hundreds of thousands of people, mostly in the rural areas. The conflict also resulted in the death of King Birendra and most of the royal family in the Nepal royal massacre. Just to give you a synopsis of how these three countries have been ravaged by conflict over time that has left so many lives lost, economic opportunities lost, so many youth have lost their future. They would not go to school and so forth. So we will now get into the discussion, and I will start with you, Avinash Gupta in Nepal.